In the serene village of Nyumbani, nestled between lush forests and rolling hills, a young girl named Nia was born with a unique gift. Her eyes, deep and piercing, held the power to see into the future. However, this gift, which could have been a blessing, was instead a curse that showed her only doom and death. From the tender age of 5, Nia's nights were plagued by nightmares so vivid and horrifying that she often awoke screaming. She saw fires consuming homes, floods drowning fields, and the faces of villagers twisted in agony. Her parents, Amina and Kofi, tried to comfort her, believing these to be the innocent fears of a child. But as the years passed, Nia's visions grew more frequent and intense, making it impossible to dismiss them as mere dreams. At the age of 16, Nia could no longer bear the burden alone. She confided in her mother, Amina, a gentle woman known for her wisdom and kindness. Amina listened with growing concern as Nia recounted her visions of doom. "You must never speak of this to anyone," Amina warned, fearing for her daughter's safety. People fear what they do not understand. Despite her mother's caution, Nia's secret was not to be kept. One evening, she saw a vision of a child falling into the village well. Desperate to prevent the tragedy, she rushed to warn the child's parents. They heeded her warning, but soon the villagers began to whisper. How did Nia know? What dark powers did she possess? One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon and cast a golden glow over the village, Nia experienced her most terrifying vision yet. She saw the village elder, wise old Jabari, lying lifeless at the edge of the forest, his eyes staring blankly at the sky. Nia trembled, her small frame shaking with the weight of the vision. She knew she had to warn him, but fear gripped her heart. She had tried to speak of her visions before, only to be met with disbelief and scorn. Her mother's words echoed in her mind. "You must never speak of this to anyone. People fear what they do not understand." But how could she remain silent when she knew what was to come? The next day, Nia couldn't concentrate on her chores. Her mind was consumed with the vision of Elder Jabari's death. She finally gathered the courage to approach him. The old man was sitting under the shade of the village's sacred baobab tree, surrounded by children eager for one of his many stories. Nia waited until the children dispersed before she approached him. "Elder Jabari," she said, her voice trembling, "I need to speak with you. It's important." Jabari looked at her with kind eyes. "What is it, child?" "I had a vision," Nia began, struggling to find the right words. "I saw you. I saw you dead at the edge of the forest." The elder's eyes widened slightly, but he maintained his calm demeanor. "A vision, you say? What makes you think it is more than just a bad dream?" Nia took a deep breath and told him about her other visions, how they had come true with frightening accuracy. She described the fire that had destroyed the smith's workshop and the flood that had ruined the maize crop, events she had seen in her nightmares before they happened. Jabari listened attentively, his expression growing more serious with each word. When she finished, he placed a hand on her shoulder. "You have a rare gift, Nia, one that can save lives. Do not be afraid to use it." His words gave her a glimmer of hope, but also a heavy burden. That evening, Nia told her parents about her conversation with Jabari. Her mother was apprehensive, but her father saw the potential in her gift. "We must be cautious," he said, "but perhaps this is a sign that Nia's visions can be used for good." Despite Jabari's reassurances, Nia's visions continued to bring only bad news. She saw a deadly illness spreading through the village, claimed the lives of many children. She saw a violent storm that would destroy the harvest. Each time she warned the villagers, her predictions came true, and each time, the villagers grew more fearful. Whispers began to circulate that Nia was a witch, bringing misfortune upon them. People who once greeted her warmly now avoided her gaze and crossed to the other side of the street. Children, once her friends, now ran from her in fear. The village's fears came to a head when a series of tragic events struck in quick succession. Livestock died mysteriously, crops failed, and several children fell ill. The villagers, gripped by panic and desperation, were convinced that Nia was the cause. They gathered in the village square, torches in hand, and demanded that something be done. "She's a witch," one man shouted. "She's cursed us all. We must purify our village." another cried, his eyes wild with fear. Nia's parents tried to protect her, but they were overpowered by the mob. The villagers dragged Nia from her home and bound her to a stake in the center of the square. Her heart pounded in her chest as she faced the angry crowd, their faces twisted with rage and fear. "Please," Nia begged, tears streaming down her face. "I only wanted to help." But her pleas fell on deaf ears. As the villagers prepared to light the pyre, a group of warriors from the neighboring village of Uhuru arrived, led by a man named Kwame. They had heard of the commotion and came to investigate. Kwame and his warriors fought off the mob and freed Nia, taking her to Uhuru. In this new village, Nia found peace and acceptance. The people of Uhuru saw her gift not as a curse, but as a blessing. They welcomed her into their community, offering her a new home and a chance to start over. Life in Uhuru was a stark contrast to the torment Nia had endured in Nyambani. The villagers of Uhuru embraced her, seeking her counsel and heeding her warnings. For the first time, Nia felt a sense of belonging. She became a respected figure, her gift seen as a means to prepare and protect rather than a harbinger of doom. Nia's first significant vision in Uhuru was of a terrible drought. She saw the riverbeds drying up, the crops wilting under the relentless sun, and the people suffering from thirst. She immediately informed Kwame and the village council. "We must prepare," she urged. "Store water, ration our supplies, and plant drought-resistant crops." Kwame trusted her judgment, and the village took her advice. They built large cisterns to store water and implemented strict rationing. When the drought came, they were prepared. While other villages suffered, Uhuru survived relatively unscathed. Nia's reputation grew, and she was no longer seen as a harbinger of doom but as a protector. However, peace was fleeting. One night, Nia had a vision of the former king of Nyambani, a wise and just ruler who had been deposed by a treacherous relative. In her vision, she saw a shadowy figure from within the king's household plotting his assassination. The vision was so vivid and terrifying that it left Nia shaken. Despite the fear that gripped her, Nia knew she had to warn the king. Disguising herself as a boy to avoid recognition, she made her way back to Nyambani. The journey was perilous, but Nia was determined. She slipped into the village under the cover of darkness and made her way to the palace. The king was alone, seated at a large wooden table covered with maps and documents. He looked up in surprise as Nia entered, but she quickly revealed herself and recounted her vision. "I have come to warn you," she said, her voice trembling. "Someone within your household is plotting to kill you." The king listened intently, his expression growing more serious with each word. Though skeptical, he decided to take precautions. He ordered his guards to keep a close watch and to investigate any suspicious activity. That night, the assassin struck, but the king was prepared. The guards caught the traitor before he could carry out his plan. Grateful for Nia's warning, the king vowed to protect her from then on. He declared her a hero and promised that she would always be welcome in his palace. News of Nia's bravery spread through Nyambani. The villagers, who once sought to burn her, now saw her in a new light. They realized that her visions were not the cause of their misfortunes, but a means to prevent them. Nia was no longer the village witch, but a revered seer who had saved their king. But despite the king's efforts, some villagers still viewed Zuri with suspicion and fear. Understanding this, Zuri decided to return to Umoja, where she was truly accepted and valued. Before leaving, King Adissa bestowed upon her a token of gratitude, a beautifully crafted amulet said to protect against evil. Back in Umoja, Zuri continued to use her gift for the greater good. The village prospered under her guidance, and Zuri finally found a place where she belonged. She learned to embrace her gift, understanding that it was not a curse but a powerful tool to shape a better future. Nia continued to live in Uhuru, visiting Nyambani occasionally. Her gift was no longer a curse, but a powerful tool for good. She used her visions to help both villages, predicting floods, droughts, and other disasters, allowing the people to prepare and protect themselves.